Welcome everyone to the Daily HiFi Podcast. My name is Chana. As with me, as always, we've got Joe and we've got Michael. What's going on? Youth Man, what's going on? Joe and Tell.
Yeah. What's happening, fellas?
Yeah.
Happy Monday to everybody.
Yep.
I'm ready.
I'm trying to get to a YouTube page and it's like, there's no connection. I'm like, clearly there's a connection. I'm on a live stream.
Right, exactly.
Like, what is going on, people?
That's funny.
Yeah, what's up to everybody in the chat, by the way?
Yeah, man.
Gotta shout out you guys because it's not really very fun if it's just us. I mean, we have fun. We have fun if nobody's here, but it's more fun when everybody's here. So I gotta give you guys a shout out. Let's have a great show.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'll keep the phone lines open too because that was kind of fun. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're like, just need somebody to talk to, just give us a call.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Like some love line or something.
So let me share this with you. So I was at CEDIA last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, and one of the tours that we did was at a local dealership, kind of like a home theater installer called Elliston. And I posted it just today on the community tab, but there was a DVD that they played through Kaleidescape, and it was from Sarah, I think it's Bareilles. Dude, that just came in today, man. It's gorgeous. She sings Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Oh, man, that thing will just melt your heart, dude. That's pretty rad. Look at that. We already got a caller.
Call right away. I didn't even put the number up. Let's see what's up.
Let's do it, man.
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
What's up? Who's this?
Hey, Champ. This is Charles Williams. I called you guys before from Home Theater Elegance.
Okay.
What's happening, Charles?
I called a while back about the difference between processors and separate.
Sure, yeah, I remember.
I was listening to another gentleman that I think on last week's show that my question actually didn't really get answered. And my question is, when you're dealing with this, the new 8805As or the new, 10, whatever the replacement for that is, that new channel processor that Marantz has out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is the processing power, the actual power, the clarity of the power, the separation in the processing chips, are they better in processors than they are in receivers, or no? Is it the same? Is the high end that AH, whatever that high end
right, A1H, I think
A1H or whatever.
Yeah.
The processing. You're saying the processing.
I think
Denon processor.
Yeah. So I think the question is
processing power, the separation, clarity. Is there a difference?
Yeah. So kind of the big question is, are they using like higher quality components, better processing in an AVR, or are they just stripping out the amplifier?
I bet you this.
What's
though.
Your opinion?
We don't. I don't know if anybody's like really looking at the specific processors that they're using. I've looked kind of into that, and I have an idea which processors they're using. And actually, at one point, I remember thinking that I went from the 4500H to 4700H, and I remember thinking like everything seemed a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like just going through the menus and things like that. So it may be a place where they could possibly, save some money just because nobody's really paying attention. Who knows what the processor is?
Yeah, because I'm really wondering whether the chipset, the actual chipsets that they use in the higher end processors, are they any better than they use in their same, whatever Marantz's receiver is the chipsets that they use in their highest end receiver, is it the same as the chipsets in the new Marantz processor? Are they the same or different?
I'm not sure. I know that they used to use like some Shark processors, SHARC Shark processor.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly if there is a difference, but I guarantee your phone, if you have a new iPhone, it's probably like 10 times more powerful, 100 times more powerful than what's in those.
I think the hard part is brands typically will let you know when they're using like higher end DACs, like the Sabre DAC that Chana always shares about that he really likes, but they don't often tell us like what processing they're using for like the video side or the audio side, other than that, like the DAC in it. So honestly, I mean, like Joe, we're kind of guessing, unless we actually reached out to the manufacturer and said, hey, look, what do you use in this versus this? Is there a difference? Are you are you using the same components? Are there better components, higher end components?
Or
That I
are
don't
you
know.
just whistling Dixie.
Exactly.
mean,
I don't know.
We don't know.
Hey, Joe, Mike, I don't know who all's there because I just called you guys. I'm actually in traffic. I headed back from a client's house.
Oh, Mike, Chana, and Joe.
For you guys.
Okay, let's go.
Sure. What is it?
Okay. This is my own personal system. I'm going to switch out from using all passive crossovers, maybe except for my my rear channels. And I'm going to go to active. Whether I'm going to use a Behringer, I don't know what kind of crossover I'm going to use. But my question is, I think active crossovers sound better. How do you employ, because I know you're doing the magic beans, Joe, and this and that, but how do you employ Dirac or Odyssey or whatever when you're using active crossovers as opposed to just passive? Is there any difference? Is the setup different? Is the configuration different? What's the process difference? What's the difference in using a active crossover as opposed to passive if you're going to go with if you're going to use Odyssey or Dirac?
Yeah. So are you using a DDRC 88A, a mini DSP DDRC 88A?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I haven't even done it yet. I'm going to completely redo my system, but I'm going to go with the new Marantz processor.
Okay.
But I'm going to strip out the internals of most of my speakers.
Okay.
Because right now I'm using B&Gs. I'm a ribbon guy. So I'm going to strip out all the passive crossovers for those things. I'm going to use everything active, but I'd like to know whether there's a difference, or is Dirac going to interact or be different than if you just use passive, or what's the situation?
Well, I assume that you're doing that because you want to make better use of your amplifier power, maybe, because when you're using passive, some of that is lost. I want to separate things a little better. Different slope. Okay. Whether it's maybe more of a 24 octave instead of a 12. Exactly.
A more sharper cutoff than a slower cutoff.
Okay, so that makes sense. So that's the main reason why people like to use active, is because you can use steeper crossovers, and typically steeper means more components, more cost, and maybe your speaker doesn't have those. So if you could just use active, then that's gonna be better, right? You're gonna get, if you do it right. So you have to know how to. You're kind of making a speaker. You're the one who's creating the crossover and all that. So you have to make sure the blend is correct. But your question was, how does that interact with Dirac? So the active crossover comes before the Dirac calibration. So, you're splitting up the channels, and then what Dirac sees is just not the left speaker and a woofer and a tweeter. It's just going to see left speaker. So it's going to calibrate it the way it's going to normally.
The active crossover is going to come before the amplifier.
Yeah. So, well, the active crossover should come before Dirac, right? So on the mini DSP, like I was saying, you do have the ability to use a crossover and then run Dirac, but crossover first, and then Dirac does this thing, right?
And then Dirac to the amplifier.
It wouldn't know what to do if you said, like, here's a woofer and here's a tweeter. Dirac's like, I don't know what is that? You want me to set up a sub and a satellite? What is this? Okay. It knows left, center, right. So that needs to be done prior to Dirac doing what it does. And so, yeah, that's basically it. It works well. You need to make sure that you know what you're doing when you're setting up the crossovers, right? Okay. You can level you can do all kinds of things.
Active crossovers. I just think that the dynamics, the clarity, the punch of a speaker, before it goes through all that metal and everything that's going on with the passive crossover, assuming it was even done right, it just, I think active crossovers are going to give you a little bit more dynamics, a little bit more clarity. It lets each driver do only what it's supposed to do, and then it hands it off to the next one, as opposed to maybe slowly rolling it off and some bleed over. I think it just seems like it gives you more control.
It definitely, you definitely can, but you need to be better than the speaker designer, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They may have a cost limitation, so you can be better because you don't have that limitation, right? You have DSP, you can make anything you want, but you also have to know what you're doing. So I think you have a good idea based on what you're saying, but be safe over there if you're driving.
And whatever I'm lacking, I can always get Joe as Magic Beans, right?
There you go.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Gentlemen, I appreciate the time and
brother.
And always, you guys are doing a great service. Please have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Thanks, man. You too, brother. Appreciate you calling.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Take care. What is this, Master P? What are they saying over here? What is this in the comments?
They're saying I had an off day with my shirts.
Why Master P though? What's that?
Because then they said Tristan said something about meanwhile the rest of us are slobs, in shorts and a t-shirt or something, and then Reverend Slim says, no, it's just a picture of the packaging for the talking Master P doll. So he's wearing a Master P doll t-shirt. That's how we got on the Master P.
Okay.
That's what's happening. Yeah. Let's see.
Make them say
This. There's this comment, and shortly before that, this comment.
Okay. All
Got
right.
a lot of stuff going on here now that I've finally finished. I look how Chana's lights match.
Thank you, Angela.
She
That was
knows.
my
Hey, look.
recommendation.
This video is not sponsored by Truly, but it should be. Look at this. Like this is.
That's dope. That was funny, man.
That was like strawberry hibiscus margarita style. Let's do it.
There you go.
And then pumpkin spice. It says pumpkin spice shirt. Yeah. So no, I just finally. This is like yesterday was my first day off. The big wedding season.
You've been
push
busting
is
it,
done.
man.
Yeah.
You've been killing it.
Yeah, I was booked every weekend since mid-June till this last weekend. So I'm
cranking out the weddings, man.
Yeah, I've got now a month. And
no
then,
bridezillas?
There was one, but you know what? She was really nice to me.
She was nice.
Was fine to me. Yeah, she was like real strict. She's like no rap.
Oh, interesting.
No rap. Okay, so I put like drop it like it's hot. Not even halfway through, she comes up. Can we get back to like top 40 stuff? You got it. That's it. But apparently she was like bridezilla to all the coordinators, to my friend, the florist, like everybody. Like it was not an easy thing.
No,
but yeah. So I got a month until
who says rap?
Yeah, rap, hip hop. I don't know.
Who says rap?
People that don't listen
to
what
do they call it? What do they call it?
I don't know. I don't ever say rap.
But see, back in the day in the 90s, rap and hip hop were two totally different things.
That's what I mean, though. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Do they call it rap?
But then, like, they were okay with a little bit of Little John because it was in the LMFAO song, but no Snoop Dogg.
You gotta sneak it in there, man.
I totally do that, dude. I always test out the audience with certain tracks here and there.
I wouldn't like that party.
Oh yeah, no. But yeah, there was a strictly like, dude, a Jewish wedding on Saturday, and like they did the hora, and then the thing with the chairs on the, they put them on the chairs, and they're like almost like, dude, and the groom like whoop. Like there was
a party or what?
Oh man.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it was actually it's cool to see different cultures and their traditions and stuff like that. So I had a great time, just kind of like I'm trying to like videotape as much as I could because I was like, oh, this is so cool. I don't get to see this too often. I even said it. I'm like, okay, I don't know what do we do with these chairs, but let's go. I just hit play on the song, and they did just
crank it up, let them do whatever they
do. They like circled around, and then they got in the chairs, and then they lifted them up, and then I guess they have to hold the napkin together, the bride and groom, while they're like on the chairs and stuff.
As long as they're having a good time, man, that's what matters.
Yeah, they had a blast.
They're celebrating. And, that's awesome.
They're big vegans. So the menu was just straight up all vegan, 100%. And man, that's pretty good. Some of it was just weird. But like I said, about 80% of it was great. So
nice.
So yeah, I had a good time. He even had it on his license plate, vegans. I was just like, wait, this got to be the bride and groom coming. I'm like, oh look, it is.
Too funny.
Yeah. So Chana, you've been putting out these videos, and I know you're getting a lot of feedback.
A lot of heat.
Well, that's what you want in a video, don't you?
That's right.
You want a little bit of conversation, right?
Controversy, generates.
That's a great song.
Interaction.
Controversy.
Well, if you just say what everybody already thinks, right? You want to play it really safe. You want to just say what everybody's already knows. Well, what is there to say? They're like, yep, we already knew that.
I mean, look, I don't. And you know what's funny? Like I really want to
What do you really?
I really want to say that, like, God, some people are just fucking stupid, but it's not that. It's not that they're stupid. Man. I know. Sasha's like, you can't be that mean in the comments. I'm like, okay, fine.
For real.
A lot of the people on today's newest video, like this one guy was like, oh, you're saying this just so you can get 100,000 subscribers and you don't have in-ceiling speakers, so that's why you don't like them. I'm like, no, unsubscribe. And I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, no, you don't get it all. I have 2 setups in my home. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, do I have to tell this all the time? Mm-hmm. Do I have to say, I started off with 512, with height channels that are, half the distance to my main listening position than my front stage. Then I moved to 514 and it's a great jump. And then I built the 714 down here. And I was just like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff I'm hearing here that I don't hear upstairs. Like, it's like, shit, do I need to, like, you guys are just going to get bored in that section. Maybe just skip. Maybe I'll just be like, the boring wrap up in the little timestamps and you guys can just skip it or something, because I know like all you guys have, what do you call it? You guys have heard my story the whole time, and there's just a lot of people that haven't. So yeah, dude's like, oh, unsubscribe. Like, dude, subscribe, unsubscribe. I don't care. Whatever. This is what it is. Listen, watch the slideshow video, and then he comes back with this. It's like, you need to talk to Steve. I'm like, yeah,
I invited him. I actually invited him.
Yeah, no,
hey, be on here, and say, let's just look at it from all the different perspectives. I mean, I don't care about being wrong. Like, if I'm wrong, then correct me. You know what I mean? That's fine. I don't feel that bad if I'm wrong about speaker placement. Come on now.
You should feel bad.
Tristan, I love you, man. You come quick. Come quick with it, dude.
But yeah, I invited him. Him on, and he just said he doesn't feel that comfortable doing the live stuff. And I said, come on, man. I mean,
who is this?
You make home theater gurus.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I invited him on Chana's in the comment section.
Yeah,
he said he wasn't really comfortable, but maybe I could talk to him on the phone, because it's not like that. I don't think it's not, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong. We're comparing notes. He could be right in certain aspects. Like, I don't know that people know, but you can both be right and both be wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not either or. You can be right in one scenario. You could be right in a different scenario.
I mean, look, we all kind of talk about the same things. AA said Elon Osborne just put out an Atmos video to show the benefits of 4 on ceiling in corners. And what's funny is I have a clip from my live stream that talks about the same thing. The difference between 4 height channels and 2 height channels.
Well, he mentioned,
I'm like, oh, what's that?
You watch it? You watched it?
His?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched his.
Oh yeah, because he mentioned you. He mentioned your.
Yeah,
video.
no. I did. I said, hey, I commented, hey, I made the video. Thanks so much, man. I'm like, I have a clip from a live stream that's going to be, put out in a week or two, about the same topic. But then you've covered the same topic. I've covered the same topic years ago when I did the when I did my upgrade from 2 height channels to 4 height channels. So it's not like.
Yeah. Let's kind of fill people in who may not know exactly what you're talking about.
What I'm talking
about the height thing, the placement of the speakers. So I know you've said it a million times, but I was telling Reverend Slim, it seems like we're saying it over and over because we have to, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be people on here like, what are they talking about? Like, I haven't seen the video. Many people have.
Yeah.
But some people have.
Well, should I get the slideshow?
Mm-hmm.
It's on my other laptop though.
Well, just can you just quickly describe what is the issue that you found?
Okay. You know what? I can just pull up the video, can't I?
You can.
I could do that.
You can't play it. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, we're stealing from Techno Death.
Eric says, just let the haters go and subscribe. I like, just like I said in the, cause I was kind of ranting in my live stream. I'm like, look, dude, like, I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. Like, this is
what you want. You're like, do what you want.
Do what you want. Yeah. I mean, it's your world. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut, right? I forget what movie that was.
Sometimes I wonder if people are actually listening or watching. Do they even watch the video? Are they?
Yeah. Like, sometimes I don't even think they watch the video. Yeah. I think some people just like, they might see one part and then just stop.
I'll show you an example. I posted this today on my community page. Just to give you an example. So I posted this, right? YouTube Premium, and I was just basically saying like, hey, I think it's totally worth it because I watch a ton of YouTube videos, right?
Mhm.
I spend more time watching YouTube videos than any of the other services that I also pay for. You know, Disney Plus, I watch YouTube more than all these other ones. And so I'm just saying I don't want to see ads, right? It's worth it for me to pay the $12 for me. And I get YouTube Music, and I made a video a long time ago about canceling Spotify so I could watch, or I could listen to music on YouTube Music.
Yeah.
And anyway, they have a promotion right now where it's 99 cents for 3 months. Like if you've never signed up, you can try it for 3 months for 99 cents, right? All right, cool. Right? That's it. That's basically what I'm saying. But at the end, I said, P.S. For those of you who use illegitimate third-party apps and ad blockers to do the same thing, because there are apps that do that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the ads because you just download this app. I said, good for you. Enjoy your savings, but just keep it off the comment section. That's it. I'm just saying, don't promote the other apps.
Is that what they're doing? They're promoting the other apps?
No, I'm just saying because I know from my previous video on YouTube Music that people are like, I don't watch YouTube. I don't pay for it because I just use this app. I just use this ad blocker. Okay, cool. Right? No problem.
Don't
do it on this particular one because it's not the right place.
Is it a thing that like, people just, some people just don't want to pay for stuff? Is that
That's
it
fine.
too?
That's fine. Okay.
Like,
Maybe you can't afford it, That's fine.
You can't. No, look, dude. I am blessed beyond blessed, and like even this last year, it's been an indication that, prices are going up. I'm doing well, so I don't mind paying for something, especially like what is it, 99 cents for 3 months?
Yeah, for this,
and then it goes to $9, maybe $10.
Okay, but look at this. I don't get this though. You're refusing constructive criticism in your comment section on your opinion of YouTube Premium while stating it's not the place for it. Come on, man. You can't aggressively shill like that or refusing to take backlash. It looks spoiled and childish. I'm like, I'm not. You can say it sucks. You can say I tried it and it sucks. All right, cool.
Right.
Let me know. But I think he took the part where I said don't promote illegitimate apps as somehow like, I don't understand where he's coming from. And this guy too. I appreciate the time it takes you to make these videos. I don't appreciate the lecture. I find it somewhat amusing that you can peddle a subscription service but announce that you're not willing to discuss it.
Right.
When did I say that? You can discuss it all you want. You can say, here's a bit of reality. Your channel is meaningless in the grand scheme of your viewers' lives. It's not.
Is that what somebody wrote?
Wow. I didn't even see that.
Your channel is about your opinion on hi-fi equipment is pure time filler. The fact that you choose to make a little blah, 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 I'm pretty confident my life is going to go on and I'm not going to miss you when it's time to say goodbye to you. And that time has come. Whoa. Feel free to delete it. Okay. So hold up a second. Let me tell you. Hey, let me tell you something. All right. If it was just me on YouTube, I wouldn't subscribe either. What are you talking about? I subscribe because Youthman and Techno Dad's on there and everybody else. All right. It's not. Yeah. If it was just me, I wouldn't pay for anything. I probably wouldn't even watch YouTube. I'm tired of seeing myself. I have to edit my videos, So I don't know what is this guy talking about?
Wow.
What is he talking about?
It's not an airport. No need to announce your departure.
That's
Bye.
Right.
I guess my point is,
Bye, Felicia.
This guy even read what I said?
Yeah.
You did. Right.
That's the problem, right? The problem is,
I was like, as I was feverishly typing my responses to one other person, I'm like, what? This asshole is not even going to read it. Like, they're not even going to read it. They didn't watch the video. I just said, like, I don't think, I said the home theater guru guy is just wrong. That's all I said. It's not always about the angles. Like, so he probably just saw that and got fucking triggered. And it was just like, oh, you just said this to get 100,000 subscribers. Dude, I had 100,000 subscribers before I started making these Atmos videos. What are you talking about?
Let's get into it, though. Let's get it. So,
all right.
First of all, I think that people aren't watching. I think they're reading the title and they they think they have an idea what you're going to say. They're not really listening. And so they comment right away, right? They're not listening. So let's discuss it, right? Let's discuss
All right.
what it
Okay.
is in, very and we'll end it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We don't have to keep
All right.
talking
Share
about it
screen.
over and over.
Share screen, Chrome tab, in ceiling versus height. Okay, here we go. Can I do it like this? Is that better?
Okay.
All the stuff is gone on.
All right. We'll make it quick.
All right. So this is the Dolby. I got this from Dolby, right? And basically it's just the side view, and this is the room boundary, right? And this is what I use. This is the Atmos renderer. And, basically what it is trying to, we have to correlate these two things. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of miss. So if we overlay the two, we have a speaker boundary and we have a room boundary. Now, the problem is here, this is just showing you how off these things are. Like if I put a sound in the, front left, now front right, it's these little green balls, right? Or green circles. But if we overlay that and I play a sound, that's not where the speaker is, right? So the room boundary actually, so like my Atmos creation is in this little area, whereas the whole room boundary is what people are always like looking at. So this was kind of the thing. Okay. So now I gotta my camera's in the way here. Okay. All right. So here's the main thing. So we've got the Atmos, what is this called? Atmos renderer. And then we've got Dolby's setup here with the height channel. So the main thing here is that I can see is that we are missing these two sections when you're using the height channels. And majority of people, I understand if 7 and 8 here were pointed down and they have a wide dispersion, maybe they'll get some of the sounds in these blank spaces. But for the most part, a lot of you are using directional height ceiling or in ceiling speakers that are pointed to your main listening position. And so, if we're going back to now my Atmos view, and I put a sound in the corner there, and then we again take away and then add the other diagrams that are all lined up, where's this sound going to go? You won't hear the sound where I place
7 and 8. It's going to go to 7 and 8.
Yeah. Right. And so here, I put in some other where they are. It could be here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or it could be one of those spots. Now I put them in different colors because think about it in this way. I've always said your home theater experience is based on your this thing's still playing. Your home theater experience is based on your room correction. So imagine if your AVR or pre-pro places it in the yellow spot, maybe that's a very expensive AVR with good room correction. And the orange one is, there's the yellow one's a $3,000 plus AVR or pre-pro. And then the orange one is a $1,500. And then the red one is just in the wrong place. And it's because it's a $500 receiver. We don't know because Dolby's not telling us any of this stuff, right? How does each AVR company, is it all the same? Is it different? I don't know. We don't know.
Here's the thing is you ask the question, but you have a setup that's more similar to this, you have two different setups basically.
I have
right?
two. Can you
tell us about those two setups? Okay.
So upstairs in the living room, my setup is like this with 7 and 8, pretty much. 8's a little bit closer to the main listening position. My side surrounds, but my front stage is 14 feet away and my height channel is 7 feet away. So it's half the distance. So basically what ended up happening was in this video, I'm trying to remix some Atmos, right? Make some Atmos music stuff. And there's an arpeggio. Arpeggio, for those that don't know, if you take a chord is 3 notes. And if you play each chord note separately, that's an arpeggio. So C major is C, E, G, right?
All right, we know, you know.
Okay. Okay. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go front left height, over to the right, front height, right
straight
front,
up. So
and then,
the point being, you're
so I'm going
straight up.
Boop, boop. So I'm trying to make the sound go straight up, across, and straight down. Okay. And then, so in thinking about that, and in here in the studio, I have my height channels above my front stage. I have my rear heights above my surround backs. They're like maybe like, I don't know, 6 inches behind, but they're pretty much on par with this diagram here. And so when I'm making this music here and listening to it here, I ran upstairs and I'm like, oh my God, my voice travels from the front height diagonally through the room. Sorry, from the front left diagonally through the room to the front left height. Whereas here in the studio, the sound goes straight up like I intended it to. So that is the difference. When I'm trying to make the sound go directly straight up, upstairs in my living room, it goes diagonally through the room. So I made a video talking about all this and an interactive Atmos demo for everybody to listen and follow along. And the majority of people said, yes, they heard exactly what I was predicting. Now, the funny part is I already knew the answer. I just wanted to see how many people would actually hear that in their living room.
Hear it or admit it.
Hear it or admit it. And then like another thing is
they wouldn't know because they don't have something to compare it to, right?
Correct.
So unless they had the speakers in the other location, it seems like it's kind of going up, I don't know, straight up. I don't know. But unless they had something to compare it to, like you do, they wouldn't know that it's not.
And again, it's like me having to say, oh, I started off with a 512. Then I went to 514. There's much better Atmos. And then I built this 714 down here. And I was like, wait a second. There's stuff in the surrounds that are doing something wonky because I only have 5 ear level speakers upstairs. But then here now with this setup, trying to do that thing where I'm going vertically with the sound, it's weird. It sounds weird on my other setup upstairs. So yeah, I already knew the answer because these are things I'm hearing. And I've heard this stuff for years. Right? I've been talking about this for years. Bodie McBoatface, Billy P. He says, Techno Dad, I love how you presented your point this time. The other times you came off as intense and angry. I know. And the reason why I come off intense and angry is because, dude, do you know how much the system costs upstairs? Like, holy shit. It's fucking expensive. Like it what happened?
No, I just say.
Oh, yeah,
it's getting heated.
It's expensive. And to think that like, Dolby's marketing department is telling us like, hey, this is the new thing. It doesn't matter what speaker system you have. You can have 312, 512, 514, whatever. You're good. You're fine. And I'm learning over these, 2016, 2017 is when I got Atmos. All these years for the last 5-6 years, like it's not everything they promised.
Well, I think you're getting like that because you know that you're up against Dolby and that marketing machine. You have to be kind of loud, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, their message has been spread. They paid a lot of money for that message to propagate, and so you're one guy, right?
Me, one guy. Yeah.
Well, that's not how it works, right? And so you're kind of yelling a little bit.
Yes. I am yelling a little bit. I mean, because one of the things from this video, which was last week released, I don't know. I can drop a link. I think a lot of the viewers here already know. So the main thing a lot of people were talking about, okay, if we're going to do heights, front heights and rear heights, what is it? Like, how are we going to get a convincing overhead? And so that's simple. You put a speaker overhead as well, right? And then I think that's somewhere over here. Oh, yeah. It's Wilfried. Wilfried shows his ugly head in here again. So again, here, this is what we're trying to do. This is what I was saying. Like, all these sounds will be replicated with front height and rear height much better than in ceiling on, as it's in the right like placement. But for the most part, I think having a center height in here that's an in ceiling or on ceiling is probably going to be the way to go, right? So which in essence is an Oro 3D setup, right? But if we're talking about Atmos, we get a third row of heights. So yes, more speakers, I know.
Okay. And so here's the comment that I saw a lot on your video, which was, well, your mixing setup there is not set up like a studio, right? Like the spec that they have for a studio. So that's the problem, right? And what's your response to that?
My
You told me about
response
the
to that.
headphones and not even needing the headphones.
Oh yeah. Actually, so in the live stream I did Wednesday, I think. When I'm creating Atmos and in the Atmos renderer plugin, it says monitoring format, and I can choose 5.1, 7.1, 5.4, 7.4. But literally, that's just the way I'm listening to it. So Dolby Atmos, as far as panning sounds from left to right, up and down, front to back, all of that is visual. You don't need an actual studio to make it, right? To make that happen, to make all those effects happen. Sure, you might need a studio to balance the levels, make sure everything sounds appropriate volume-wise, because you don't want the talking to be too loud. You don't want this explosion to be super loud or super quiet or whatever in relation to talking and this, that, and the other. So that's the thing. Like all these, dude, there's this awesome photo of this amazing Atmos all-white studio that like Brad Pitt had put together in France and whatever. Oh, amazing video. Super cool looking studio. But dude, the front stage, higher than all the other ear level speakers. The front stage and the front height, front left and front height speakers, maybe a foot in between. So all the people that talk about smearing. So like people are making Atmos studios and not really caring about the Atmos PDF as far as like speaker placement. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter because it's all done in the box. Like the computer does it. So you can listen.
The answer I was trying to get was about, you're saying you listen on binaural. You don't even have to listen at all because you're going based on the visual, right?
Yeah.
The visual representation.
Yeah.
There's
like I can make
it go up. It should go straight up. And when you listen to binaural, you told me that in the binaural, the Dolby
binaural renderer,
all right, it goes straight up. So if it doesn't go straight up, which it doesn't for a lot of people who have it set up in recommended Atmos, home setup. I want to be specific.
Yeah.
It doesn't go straight up. It comes up and towards you. That's what people were saying in the comments, right? Many people were saying that. And so there's a disconnect there. And I think I have an idea what it is. And I've spoken with Reverend Slim about this. We talked about 2 hours one day. And this relates to what Juan is saying, Technodad. What people need to understand is that Auro 3D as well as Atmos layout speakers are not located by distance, but by angles. Angles determine where the speakers go based on the room size. And yes, but Auro 3D has more specifications as far as the heights can't be closer to you than the corresponding ear level speaker. So Atmos doesn't have that requirement that I've seen. It doesn't say like how far it could be, So in Auro, the height speaker should be above the corresponding ear level speaker, right? That's not an angle necessarily. That's a placement thing, right? Atmos, from what I see, is based on angles, but because they're not telling you where the speaker needs to be, then you have an issue where you can have the right angle, but if it's a certain size room, you may perceive that the sound will go from the front speaker to your front left height speaker, and it sounds like it's coming towards you, even if you have the correct angle. Now, how much difference? I mean, we're nitpicking, right? We're nitpicking because the fact that it comes up and towards you versus straight up. What does that mean in the real world? I don't know. Maybe if Chana spent a lot of time making it sound like a certain way, though.
And that's the thing. Like some of these effects take hours to make, and I'm sitting there tediously, cutting up the audio, moving it here, moving it there, cutting more, cutting all the audio into 16ths, making 6 separate channels, panning and moving all. Like this takes a lot of time. And I work graveyard, like I have a graveyard shift tonight, and like I'm just kind of messing around with it. And then I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, only like 30 to 40% of you are actually going to hear it that way. And so, it's tough because of what Dolby has told everybody about it. I'm like, okay, well, if Dolby's telling everybody this, and what I'm experiencing is just not adding up to this, and people are spending $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 on this home theater, when all the recommended speaker layouts are kind of not really right per se, as opposed to, you know, what kind of Atmos experience you're going to get. Like 100%, like Boy Genius, perfect example on today's video. He said, I'm an 80%er and I'm totally fine with that. Meaning he has Atmos, but it's not in the ideal place. And he sees what I'm talking about and he can't do that in his space. So he's like, I'm going to roll with 80% Atmos and that's it. And I know, Mike, you always talking about just enjoying what you have and all this. And like upstairs in my living room, yeah, it's like an 80% Atmos theater.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I get all the bass. I get a lot of the spatial cues, but things are off. Things are off. Like I listen to the same thing in here and down and upstairs. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And like the system in here costs a lot less.
I think it's true though. I think we are nitpicking because will somebody still enjoy the experience? Yeah. Right. If there's a helicopter, whether it's going in the corners and further out, but I think you're coming at it from a creator's perspective. And what you said is like, I don't want to color if I can color all the way on the outside, I want to be able to color all the way on the outside, not confined to this.
Exactly.
Bubble.
Exactly. Because a lot of people have said that. Well, you're forgetting about the Dolby bubble. I'm like, well, dude, just making, you know, you're cutting. What was the how much space, Joe? You said you
that's like about half. You know, you putting a hemisphere inside of a square, you're getting close to like half the amount of space that you could possibly use. And for us, so here's where what I think is actually happening. And this is from Reverend Slim. From our conversation, this is what he said, and it made sense to me. He's our Atmos kind of expert. He reads all the papers and stuff like that, right? And so what he said was that the renderer, all of this stuff was primarily for theatrical mixes, right? And so in a theater, it's kind of like, even though the visual is not perfect, right? The fact that you're so far from the front speaker that the distance between the front speaker and the height speaker, let's say, is kind of relatively small compared to, you know, how far you are. So when something goes up and maybe towards you a little bit, it still sounds like it's going up in a theater. But at your house, because it's a smaller room, it doesn't sound like it's going straight up. It sounds like it's coming up and towards you. So I think that that's really true, that they've tailored that for a theatrical mix where the room is huge. We're talking about speaker arrays, right? Where you can't really pinpoint exactly where the sound is. There's just a ton of speakers. It's a whole different thing than a home system. But nowadays, folks like you and other content creators are mixing for, let's say, Apple Music or, you know, some of these other formats. It's not going to a theater, right? It's going directly from your computer to a user at home, right? And for that, the renderer doesn't really make sense because it's not that. It should be a different shape. Maybe they should make it so, hey, if you're mixing for home, this is kind of like a different.
If they wanted a bubble, it should be a bubble.
It should be a bubble.
Right. A circle.
So I think that's where the disconnect is, right? Theater, huge theater with arrays of speakers is different from your house, right? And the experience that you'll have at the theater is different from what you're going to have at your house. And anyway, I think that that's where the disconnect is. And I think we just want to be clear, you know, if that means that Dolby hears this and they're like, hey, you know what, these guys make sense. Why don't we just make it a round thing? Okay, cool.
I love it. I was having fun. Yeah.
What do you have to say, Michael?
I'm just chilling over here, man. I'm sharing my thoughts.
He said enjoy what you have, right?
I've shared my thought. I invite y'all to come over and check out my system. I'm not saying it's perfect, far from perfect. And my rears are way too high. I know that.
Okay. Well, I'm curious what you have to say about like what we just said about how the sound doesn't go exactly where Chana expects it to go. Yeah. And he's the content creator. A lot of times we're talking about, you know, creator's intent. He's a creator. It's not
even though I hate that phrase. Yeah.
It's not doing what he intended.
Yeah.
So
I've shared my thoughts several times. I mean, it's the same discussion. It's one of those things where I've never once watched any movie. Now, maybe is it the artist's intent? You know, I don't know. But I've never once watched a movie and heard, let's say, a helicopter fly over or hear the monster that's coming down the stairs from a quiet place, and I go, man, I know that should be up there. That just sounds off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just my thought. It's like, okay, and maybe it's one of those, you don't know what you don't know, but if what I'm seeing on screen is correlating to what my ears are hearing, then you tell me what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my thought. So,
well, okay. So
I've said that many
we'll be
times.
specific then. In Chana's demo,
Yeah.
he shows the ball, right, going from the front left speaker directly up. Okay, so there's the visual. If in your system it doesn't go straight up, but instead it comes up and towards you.
So send me a link to later on. Send me a link to the download.
Yeah.
Because I went to your site and I added my email, but I never got like a link to the download.
Oh God, man. I don't know what's wrong with that. Like there's like a good like 5% of people that never get the like follow-up email or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't send it. Yeah. So I just assumed it was like your newsletter.
Yeah, it's my newsletter.
You just hadn't sent out. Well, I'm just thinking maybe
it's on automatic. It's on automatic. If you're new,
I didn't get nothing.
You get the newest video and then the 3 like backup ones.
Okay. Shoot me a link to it or whatever. And like I said, I'll be glad to check out on mine.
Kellen from Dream Media is in the house. All of you guys are welcome to my theater. He has a banging theater. That room is so big. Holy crap.
Yeah, he's got a big old theater.
Yeah, with Focal like 1000 series. It's not cheap. Not cheap.
I finally met Kellen at the at Cedia, man. I know it was quick, dude. I wish I could have hung out longer, but it was like,
nice.
Hey man, I gotta head over here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, totally.
Dude, we were one after another.
Yeah, that's why I love the trade shows. But anyway, so back to the situation here. So again, a lot of this is stuff that we are only learning now because the tools are available. The tools are available. So a lot of you guys want me to try making some stuff in DTSX. So I'm trying to find somebody. Hopefully I can run into somebody at Xperry. Xperry is the parent company to DTSX. They have a booth at CES all the time, and that's where I go get the DTSX demos for the year. So I want to talk to them and be like, yo, can somebody what's up?
No, I was gonna say, you know what? Is there a way that maybe we can do a binaural demo of your specific demo, so somebody can put on some headphones and hear the difference? If you can move your speakers here in this room, right? If and just maybe recalibrate the distance, right? In Dirac,
okay.
Like just manually put it in.
Okay.
I don't know, but anyway, my point being,
well, one of the things
show both and when the difference that you can hear, that might just be an easy way for somebody to say, "Oh, okay, I get it. It's a little bit different."
Okay,
going straight up versus up.
I know exactly what to do. If I were to stand at the side of my system here, you could hear the sound go directly up, and if I stand to the side of my system at home, you'll hear it going across the room.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying? So that should be easy enough to record a what do you call it? Record a binaural demo, because my room upstairs has all kinds of problems. So it's not a binaural recording up there, you're going to hear more out of the left side surround than you will anything else, because that's what I hear, because it's so close. Whereas here, everything's more balanced. So it's a bit unfair. Like I was saying, we should have, a room or a booth or whatever at Cedia, and I know it's going to be at where is it, Mike? Is in Colorado, right?
Which one?
Cedia.
Yeah, it's going to be in, I think, Denver,
right? So I remember it was at the convention center last time, and they have rooms downstairs. Then that would be perfect. We can just set up a side view. We could even do an augmented reality shot of the thing on an iPad, so you can see what's actually happening, and do like maybe 2 AVRs, but just so we can do a quick swap over.
Mark T saying, next topic, please. Hold on. I'm not done yet. So
to just display the situation, because we need to know. I want to know what's going on.
Okay, so listen. One last thing I want to say about this is the comment that a lot of people make, which is, well, isn't your DSP supposed to fix that, right? Isn't it supposed to make it sound the same? And it can help by adding delays and levels. But the problem is that, I've said it before, you can tell where a speaker is. We have binaural hearing. We can tell where the source of sound is. We understand the reflections, how long it takes to get from one ear to the other ear. So we know that the speaker's close and not further away. And that's it. And so you can't fix that currently. There might be some stuff in the future that will be able to trick your brain better. But as of right now, our DSP just isn't that sophisticated.
Right.
And I don't know I don't even know psychoacoustically and physically if it's possible. But as of right now, it cannot account for that. So that's it. Right. That's it.
If there's a sound over here in the green and you don't have a speaker there that can cover that area, then you're not going to hear that sound where it was placed by the content creator. That's really the idea here.
Yeah. So Reverend Slim, I think we're in agreement with most of the stuff. And I think what we're trying to do is not to say, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. It's just, this is what is happening. Okay. It shouldn't make you upset for us to tell you that this is what is happening. If you want to change your system, okay, cool. If you don't, then that's okay too, right? It doesn't matter. We're just kind of we're comparing notes.
I just ordered another pair of these speakers to do a mid on ceiling to see what that's like. And
are we boring you, Michael? You said he's trimming his phone. What's boring?
Dude, I just tease it, dude. I'm having fun with the people in the chat.
Oh, okay, good.
It's hilarious. I'm just.
I mean, some like I crossed a line attacking Brad Pitt, unsubscribed. There's a lot of. I do want to answer this.
Some funny stuff.
Peter says, in the future, don't ask to participate in an experiment if you already the answer. If you know already the answer or looking for things to validate your conclusion in your country, please be transparent in the ask. But here's the thing, though, Peter. I wish Aaron was here because I know he'd back me up on this. And I need to change my battery because my video is going to go out. A lot of people in this whole hobby think they can hear much better than they actually can. And that is also an issue in this thing because sound is subjective. And if I want to be angry and be a complete dick, I literally make a living with my hearing. Like literally every fucking weekend. Yeah. Day in, day out. And they're paying $bucks for these.
In all fairness, it doesn't mean that you can hear, though.
What's that?
It doesn't mean you can hear.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
what's that? What? I didn't hear that.
And you know what?
I mean, when my wife is talking, I totally pretend like I can't hear.
Aren't you supposed to come in with a hypothesis, though? You're supposed to come in with an idea of what is happening, and the experiment is to, verify if it's true or if it's not true.
Ike even mentioned that in the comment, one or two after that.
He said that too. You're supposed to come in with a specific hypothesis, but I do agree that it's good to be transparent and say, hey, this is what I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem though, is if he says this is what I think is supposed to happen, that may be like priming somebody.
It could, yeah.
Thinking so that if that's how it's supposed to be, that's what I hear. You know what I mean? So it's tricky. Anyway, we can move on. Yeah. See, now we can move on.
I see somebody said something about an OLED TV. You guys know I love those things. You guys hear about this 97-inch OLED TV? I think it was where's FOMO when you need him? Oh, it's Chris Wyndham. So yeah, new size. I think Brandon, here it is. Who's getting a 97-inch OLED? Man, I wish I could, bro. I just don't have space. I don't know. Would you try?
I do. Dude, I just seriously, Kanto just sent me today a 58-pound TV for fully adjustable TV mount. I didn't even know they made TV mounts. Joe said he knew about it. But yeah, so they've made some pretty heavy duty. It's their Pro Series. And so it'll support up to 100-inch TV. So hit me up, guys.
$25,000, Mike.
Dude, I'm not saying I'm buying it. Just hit me up. Let me borrow it for a little bit. I'll play with it, make some content. I'll send it back. I'm cool with that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's take some calls. I know people are wanting to
97-inch G2.
Boom.
That would be exciting.
I'll open it up here.
I did see. I think there was a 100-inch. I may have seen that one at the Sony booth. Who's making that one, Chana?
Who?
The
LG,
100-inch.
LG.
Okay.
It's LG
It was,
G2.
okay, it's a 97-inch. I saw a 100-inch Sony. That was pretty cool.
You're on point. Can you guys hear this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Who's this?
This is Cedric. I called last week. I'm actually in the chat. I am the one for you. In the chat.
Yes. How's it going?
Yeah.
Cedric, what's
What's
up,
up,
buddy?
Cedric?
Great. I figured I may as well identify myself since I'm always in there, typing something.
Cedric,
Well,
quick
you know-
question. Quick question for you.
Yeah.
Were you the Cedric that won the
No.
okay, the different
No,
Cedric.
I
All right, okay.
Yeah, I didn't win anything. I was unsubscribed, but I wasn't entered. I don't know if you had to do something to enter, but I did watch the entire,
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
it was still fun to see everyone winning stuff.
I feel like Santa Claus, man.
Because I'm satisfied now. Except for one thing I would love to get is that Marantz AV10. Of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
I think
That looks
everybody-
nice, man. That looks like A1. Or
Do you like the new design? Is that why you want to get it? The new design?
No. I wanted. We talked so much. I brought up last week about right now I'm using a receiver with amplifiers, and I have 4 subwoofers, and this thing has 4 subwoofer outputs, and it has I forget the other stuff that it has, but yeah, I was direct live as a part of it now. So the question was, would it be better, to actually get something like that? Would it sound better? And so it was just one of those things where I just like it. I would love to have it. I don't want to spend $7,000 for it. So I don't think I'll
Likewise.
Yeah.
Have Kellen review it and then just be like, oh, open box it over.
That's right.
I think even an open box, I don't think I could afford it. If the price is $7,000, I could just imagine,
Yeah.
So I'd rather buy a car or something. But so the thing is, I had a couple things, and I know people are sick of the Dolby Atmos conversation. Chana, don't.
That was just that one guy. Maybe others, but yeah.
but I think Chana's test. I didn't get to experiment with that test or listen to it, but I think it would be a good test, because I think with anything you want to see if your theory pans out. Right, so it only makes sense to do something like that. But what I did want to say is I do agree with Youth Man in the sense that I have a 7.1.4 system, and I went to the Dolby website and I looked at all the diagrams that they have for Atmos, right, 7.1.4. And it's funny because it is a little weird. Like, you look at one and it looks like the speakers are at a certain spot, and then you look at another one and it looks like the heights are further back than, so it is confusing. But I will say that whenever I watch movies, I have never noticed any sound seeming like it's coming from a spot that it doesn't visually look like it's coming from on screen or being where it should be. And I have to say that. So even though Dolby isn't perfect, I'm not like an advocate. I don't have stock or anything like that. I just think that it does work, because even along the sidewalls where I know there are absolutely no speakers, I hear things happening there. And sometimes I'm just like, wow, that's really weird to hear things in spaces where I know there's no speakers, right? So it's weird. I think if you're close with your setup, and I'm pretty close because I don't have an odd-shaped room. I don't have a spouse either, so I can put things anywhere I want. So I have a lot of speakers like hanging, and they're kind of positioned according to Dolby's, diagrams. So it kind of works. I don't notice anything out of place. And I just wanted to mention that because I know Techno is really, really, really passionate about this, and I understand. This is what he does. And when you're on the consumer side, it's nice listening and watching a movie, but when you're doing it, it's different. You become a perfectionist and you want everything to be.
It's the amount of time, like, just for me to remix a song, and have something cool happen in it, and then just hear that, like, oh, the people with 5 ear level speakers, because I had the vocal move clockwise around the room in the Panic Room mix that I did, and he says that, like, when it's the front stage or the side surrounds, the sound is moving evenly, but since he doesn't have any rear surrounds, it moves quickly. So like that's not what I intended. It's supposed to like go around you, and then when she says "come for you," it's supposed to come over your right shoulder, and then "come for you" again comes over your left shoulder. So like there's shit's coming for you. Like it's an artistic choice, because I'm like, oh god, this sounds cool as shit. And then now it's like, oh well, I spent all this time timing all of this and putting it in, like, oh, how many people have 7 bed layers as opposed to 5? The people with 5 are going to hear it all weird. So it's one of those things.
I guess that goes for any format though, whether they've got a DTSX setup, an Aural 3D setup, or Dolby Atmos, or an IMAX enhanced. If they don't have enough speakers that would replicate what you're trying to mix, they're not going to hear it that way anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's always better. It's always better to have more speakers in the proper locations. The more optimal, your experience is going to be. But I think what we're getting at, and the reason why we're kind of like, keep going in on this, is because I think there are ways to perhaps mix the music or the movies differently so that it does mix down more, I guess, seamlessly, right?
Or evenly, or so that
like
everybody gets like the same or similar, like very similar experience.
You want to try to keep as much intact as possible, right? So if you go from 7.1.4 and you go to 7.1.2, you should still get some more, keep as much as possible every step down, right?
So would it be best would it be best to share that information with Dolby directly?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, I think they know how. They know how to do it. I think they know how to do it.
Complaining to consumers isn't going to fix it, though.
No, it's not complaining to consumers. It's letting them know what the limitations of their system are, right? Currently, and the limitations. I'm saying that I think we're not coming up with complaints without having solutions, right? So
that's what I'm saying. So
Shauna and I do have some.
If you provide those to the people that are making this, wouldn't that be a better option?
Well, I mean, not Sean is a content creator, right? He's making music, and if he figures out a way, if we figure out a way to make it sound awesome on all these different systems, well, that's a great thing for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. That's a great thing if it works on all these systems. Yeah, go ahead.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
When you watch those Dolby Atmos demos, like the demos that they sell, have you guys ever? And this is just just a question, because I know I kind of got when I started listening to the demos, because I was looking for some material that would really let me know whether this thing sounded good or not, right? And I got those demo discs and I play them. Have you guys ever noticed any problems when you're playing those demo discs? I mean, because those really kind of let me know everything's it's optimal. Maybe it's not the best, but optimal. I'm like, that sounds like it's coming from exactly there.
Right. So I'll tell you this: when I had 512, I was listening to that 2016 Atmos demo disc, and one of my favorite demos is the Audiosphere one. One of them has these little diamonds that go right,
going around. Yeah.
So when I went from 512 to 514, I noticed right away that there was a lot more diamonds above me toward the back of the room. And so I downgraded to 512. And that's when I realized that my side surrounds, which are, 5, I don't have surround back. So they're at the sides because of the wall placement of my couch. Those sounds were now in my side surrounds. So that's when I realized if you have a 512 setup and your surround speakers aren't angled behind you a little bit and they're directly 90 degrees like mine are, those speakers are doing the job of 3 speakers: your surrounds, your surround backs, and your rear heights. So I already knew something was, and this is back in 2018. I was just like, oh, well, this sounds weird, and it's different. And I'm like, why is this happening? So yeah, that's it.
Let me kind of mention something I mentioned before too, is Dolby has a demo on, I think it's on Xbox. You have to download their Atmos Access
app.
It's an
Dolby
app.
Dolby Access app. Yeah.
Access. I think they have it on what is it? What are the streaming stick? What's that one? Roku. I think it's on Roku, Xbox, and then on Windows. So if you just have a Windows PC you can download the Access app, Dolby, what's what it's called? Dolby Atmos Access app, something like that. And you'll see a demo, and it's for a 7.1.4 call out. Okay. So you can plug in HDMI, plug it into your AVR, and it will, it sounds amazing. So here's my point about this particular demo. It's 7.1.4, but if you mix it down to 5.1, right? If you turn off some settings, make it play in 5.1, it's amazing that you still get the perception of height, right? So that's what I'm talking about when it's like a smooth mix down. So when you actually have your height speakers on, well, it sounds clearer, right? You can tell it's specifically there and there. But when it goes to 5.1, there's still a perception of height. And so I think that that's awesome. And I think that that's what people should be striving for, right? We want an experience that's good for everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And so they know how to do it. Dolby obviously knows how to do it. We don't have to tell them. That's their demo that does that pretty much like one of the best. It's the best that I've heard when it comes to mixing down. And even if I mix it down to like stereo, I'm still getting some
this like sense of height, which is really, really weird. And Dolby knows how to do this, and Dolby's given everybody the tools to do the basic thing, but they haven't given any instructions on how to make it sound as realistic as possible.
I actually have a link where it's a unlisted link, and I uploaded to YouTube, and YouTube can only do 5.1, but you guys can try it out on your home theater system. So it has to be on a streaming device that allows you to use YouTube with 5.1.
Yeah.
But it's only 5.1. But if you use a Dolby Surround Upmixer, I think what you'll notice is you'll get pretty much what seems like discrete call outs for your rear surrounds and a perception of height, even though it's not in Atmos. So I can link to that. Maybe I'll link to that.
Well, we spent a whole night working with that, and we're just like, how is this possible?
I was just going to say, I'm going to bring up the other two things that I called in for before they bring out the torches in the chat.
Okay.
Because I could see them coming with the torches.
It's all right.
So I was just curious. I set up my system, and I guess I just don't like things that are super loud. And you know,
what's wrong with that?
Because I'm just curious. Do you guys actually listen at reference levels?
No.
Because I couldn't even possibly do that. Because I listen right now at -22, and I think it's great, right? And impactful. So I couldn't even imagine. And when I hear people say, you know, reference level, I mean, I'm talking about -22 right now, going all the way down to -0. Seems to me like it would just be dangerous to your hearing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not listen at reference. Now, when I do the home theater tours in Kansas City, Wisconsin, Illinois, those guys are on a whole different league. They actually like demoing and even watching movies at reference. I personally do not. I'm usually about 10, sometimes 15 below reference. So I'm at -10, maybe -15. -22 would be too low for me and my preference. But the cool thing is you can absolutely watch a movie at lower volumes if that's what your ears are comfortable with. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. That's really a personal preference. I tend to tell people to calibrate your system to reference so that when you put your volume at 0, that is reference. So your 85 dB with peaks up to 105, and your bass, I think, is at 115 peaks. But it doesn't mean you have to listen to the movie or the music at reference.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to ask you guys all is, what's your favorite go-to movies? Like, what do you guys use when you just like, you absolutely want to enjoy your system?
Yeah.
You only have an hour and change. What do you go to? Like because I know a lot of people. I've mentioned Ready Player One in the past, but I know The Man of Steel is amazing. There's a lot of really good ones, but I want to make sure I have them all.
Yeah,
so,
Sound of Music's amazing.
The Sound of Music?
I'm totally kidding. No, I haven't seen that. It's just something. It's something that nobody else would throw out there. So, honestly, there's so many. There really, really are. There's some really great ones. I mean, I know I've mentioned like, oh my goodness, now I'm A Quiet Place. That's really cool because they use the absence of sound to really kind of pull you into that movie. And then of course there's
Dolby's
great-
Atmos is great at that.
there's there's some
The absence
great-
of sound.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I
Great
got jokes. No, that movie sounds pretty like it sounds creepy. Like,
Look,
ugh.
if you look in the chat, a lot of guys are sharing, what they
Yeah,
really
Black
like.
Hawk Down is awesome. The Accountant.
Oh yeah, Black Hawk Down
Greatest
is one of my favorite
Showman.
movies of all time. I must have seen it like 100 times already.
Oh yeah,
But-
Tropic
but yeah,
Thunder.
Quiet
Kellen
Place
says
is
Tropic
amazing.
Thunder.
The first time I watched A Quiet Place, and I have A Quiet Place too,
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed, and I don't know what I was thinking. And then I went back and I watched it again. I think it was after I got my 2 new subwoofers. I had
Yeah.
2
Oh yeah.
SB2 2000 Pros, and then I got
Sure.
2 SB3000s. And when I listened to it like the next time, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And now that's one of my favorites also.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's another one. Somebody mentioned, I think, the Tank movie, which is Fury. That's a really good one.
Oh, Fury is, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah. Somebody
That's
said
amazing.
Bullet Train
And,
might be good. Maverick's going to be awesome.
1917, I think it is.
Yep.
1917. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
It's like a
If you
scene
don't-
where they're walking through a tunnel and it's really quiet, and a rat goes and he goes into that mine or something, and
Yeah.
it's wow. You got to be really paying attention there. Okay,
What's that futuristic movie that they're flying around? Oh my goodness. And it's got numbers in it too. I know that sounds really cheesy.
Futuristic movie. They're flying around. It's got numbers in it. Starship Troopers?
No.
Oh wait, no, that would mean bugs were in it.
19. Oh my goodness.
Is it the Handsome McGee's in it? In the chick with that's on the billboard?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is that 19?
So the 20,
Oh,
2030?
2049?
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner 2049. There you go.
I got you, Michael. I got you.
Oh, man. Joe was like, the
I
girl
got
on
you.
on the billboard. Yeah.
That's how I remember.
Yeah. That's got some really cool Atmos.
If it doesn't need to be Atmos,
Doom.
and you want to hear you want to make it sound like it's a what is it, a war. Dunkirk.
Yeah.
That first scene in Dunkirk, my
That's
wife
crazy.
always freaks the fuck out. She's like, why do you have to watch this again? I'm like, a different subwoofer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
So that's one of the things.
Well, hope that helps.
Yeah, what's going on, Sean Johnson, man? Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
Oh,
hey, what's up? Is this a new caller?
Oh, what happened?
Y'all normally see me on every now and then.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
Fellas?
That was
Man,
weird.
Look. Wish Mike will bring out a lot of stuff that was at the show that was big, man. But there was a lot of small companies that was out there. But question for you, though, Techno Dad. Should I sell the 4700 and get the 38 or hold off?
I don't know. I just got a 38. It just got delivered today.
Okay.
I mean, I had the 4500.
When should you get? How about this? When would you recommend that somebody should upgrade?
Oh, you should upgrade when the newer one's coming out. You know,
Like, no, I'm saying like, what's the use case?
Oh, okay.
You want to do?
Right. So how about this? What configuration are you running right now? You running 714?
Right. Well, I think that I think at least if it's 3 years old or more, but I think with that 4800 having all the issues it had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So do you still have one of those HDMI 2.1 chips from the old stock? Is that what's happening?
Right.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you'll have more HDMI 2.1 ports, and then you'll have the ability to run 516 or 714 with the 38. So I mean, if your main point of contention with the 4800 is the HDMI 2.1, then yeah, you should upgrade to the 3800.
Direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also, I mean,
I got so many preamps. Yeah.
oh, you got a bunch of amplifiers, so
Yeah, I got Emotiva all over the place. Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can run your same exact system now just with the upgraded HDMI ports. Then I'd say go for it. Like all the other stuff like Dirac that's not available till next March, they said. If you wanted to try that, but yeah, Yeah, I'd say it's a good upgrade for what you needed to do. For everybody, probably not.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, guys, thanks for everything, man. Looking forward to talking to y'all again.
Appreciate you calling.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Y'all be easy.
Take care. Rob E is saying, finally got Auro 3D working on my X3800H. It's a night and day compared to Atmos. Okay. Oh, we got another call.
All right.
Here we go.
There's like
hello.
calls happening. This is awesome.
Howdy.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hey, so my name is Nathan. I've called you guys before.
What's up, Nathan?
I was the crazy guy with the ferret and the subwoofer.
Oh, you never sent us a picture. You never sent us a picture. Okay, so I remember you. You were you wanted to know if you wanted to add some subs, or I think that was our recommendation to you.
So my first question to Michael, since you're in the Tampa area, have you had any? I don't know if you get seasonal allergies, but have yours been like off the rails today, or am I just losing my mind?
Not necessarily today. Usually when Jessica and I go walking at night, man, I start sneezing. So I think it's definitely like the pollen or something in the air. But but I literally haven't been out tonight, man. I've been in the house all day.
Okay.
Whereabouts are you? Where are you at?
I'm right now in Bradenton, but I'm often I'm finishing up school over in Clearwater, but I spend a lot of time on Davis Island.
Nice. Yeah, you're not too far from me, bro.
So I have a couple questions. So long story short, since last time I called, my situation is changing. I'm graduating in 2 weeks, and long story short, got a better offer for a job than I expected. And I'm going to be able to start putting some real money into a home theater system when I move back home. And so a couple questions. I know I was talking about pre-pros last time, and I've kind of I've narrowed it down to two. I'm looking at either like a Denon X3700, preferably refurbished to save a little bit of cash. But I also noticed Emotiva has that, what is it, the Base X MC1 processor.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you guys have experience or with that, what you guys think would be like the better move of the two, or if there's something else you'd recommend.
You're trying to experiment with that Emo Q? Is that I don't know. Just the way the Emotiva titled or named their room corrections, Emo Q. It just seems pretty odd.
Yeah,
I think it's funny. I think it's funny. But I haven't used one of them. Michael has though, right?
I did the RMC one, so that was their flagship at one time. It was I guess still is $6,000.
Yeah, they were down to about $3,750 right now. If you've got a amplifier, you can get one for like $3,000 new if you trade in an old amp.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was probably the buggiest unit that I've ever reviewed. I mean, like a lot. I sent them a whole list. I'm like, and I had been communicating. I said, hey, I'm having this issue. They're like, okay, try this. Okay, that didn't work. So 1 out of 3 times that I would turn it on, I would get, I think, video, but no audio. And the only way I would get audio back most of the time is I'd have to power it down, literally totally unplug it, let it kind of reboot, plug it back in, turn it back on. Now, have they fixed that with firmware updates? I really hope so, because it's been, 2 years since I reviewed that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But just at the time, it was just so, I had so many glitches and so many issues with them. And when I sent them a bullet point, I said, hey, here's what I love about it. Here's what I think. Here's the issues that I ran into it. More than likely, all this can be fixed with firmware over time. So I believe in the product, because when it works, it sounds great. It just was glitchy for me. And their reply was, sounds fair. so they kind of knew that it was, it had some issues. Now, the UMC, is it UMC one?
The XMC.
XMC one. Yeah. So that's a newer version or a newer one. I have not had a chance to review that. And I know some people that have, and they had great luck with it. So again, I'm not sure. I've owned I've owned a previous, I think it was called the UMC one. So that was many, many years ago. It was my first processor. I think it was like a $500 processor back then. Kind of the same thing though. I had so many glitches, so many bugs. It had the Emo Q. pointless. I literally turned it off. It was pretty bad.
You know,
But
I
this was
know
like 10
Elon
years ago.
Osborne has a review
The
of that.
iota.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the iota.
Oh, he has the iota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I know Ripewave has done some
Yeah.
comparisons too, so you may want to check out their channels.
There's also the tone winner. Like if you're looking
Tone
for
winner,
a a lower
Mhm.
priced pre-pro.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's just my only thing. I mean, I love Emotiva as a company. I think they make great amplifiers. Definitely, I love those. But their processor, I just think that's not their strong point. When it works, it sounds great. It just a lot of time, from my experience, they've just been pretty buggy. And looking in forums and watching people that have owned them as well, they kind of all say the same thing. So some people have great experience with them. Some people, they're like,
Yeah.
man, this thing's glitchy as I'll get out. So, and it may be dependent upon what you have it hooked up to, but really it shouldn't be that way. I mean, I've got, the Marantz processor. I've owned Marantz AVRs. They just work, man. I mean, like straight up, they work every single time, glitch free.
Well, okay. That's a generalization. Sometimes people have had bad experiences with Marantz and Denon.
Correct. Yeah.
But
I'm not saying everybody.
overall-
I'm saying my experience, I've had zero issues with them, so now compare that to my 2 experiences with Emotiva, not even close to that experience. So again, just take that with a grain of salt. Definitely look up other people's reviews that have had those units in-house. And again, they may have differences of experience on that as well. But if you can find some common threads through those reviews, you're like, okay, all 3 of these said this kind of the same thing here, then it's a pretty good chance you might experience that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
real,
like I can. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Real quick though, I remember last time you were saying that you were having some issues with your speakers. You had some kind of like some DIY speakers that you kind of had, and you saying you're hearing some distortion. Whatever happened with that? Just kind of curious.
So I've still got those. I'm graduating in 2 weeks.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a graduating over in Clearwater. I got a job with United back in Chicago, so I'm going home. I think it's gonna be a great job, and it allows me to
so what was
really putting money away.
Yeah, what happened with the speakers though?
So I still have them right now. They're actually disconnected because I'm starting to pack all my stuff up to move back home right after graduation. I plan to switch those out. That was actually my next question.
Okay, that was it.
What I was thinking though, so it sounds like the Emotiva amps, they could be better quality, or processors to be better sound output, but you might be taking more of a gamble with the reliability of them.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I'd say if you go with something like a Denon or something, you're probably gonna get a pretty good experience.
More stable, absolutely.
Yeah, more stable. Right. And then with the addition of Dirac Live later in these newer ones, you could add that later if you get one of the 3800s or whatever. And then because isn't Michael, wasn't it Dirac Live in the Emotiva as well?
Yes, that is correct. Yep. Yeah, that was my first experience with Dirac Live.
Okay.
So you're gonna say something about speakers?
Yeah, so I was wondering because I know you were just at Cedia, and I've seen a couple things, and I've seen it on Emotiva's site. They've got the new 3 series. Did you get to hear it all? Was it there, or we kind of just waiting to see what happens?
Yeah, I've only heard one set of Emotiva speakers. I couldn't tell you what model number they were. They were when they first introduced like their speakers, and I mean, and they were okay. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. But again, that was just one room. Acoustically, the room could have been horrible. There weren't any treatments, any acoustic panels, so that could have a huge impact on how they sound. So again, that was just one time hearing them. So I definitely wouldn't take that as gospel that these aren't that great.
I think it's the B1s, the bookshelf, 5.25-inch bookshelves. I heard them at one point. Not too long ago. I thought they were really nice. Actually.
Yeah, see, cool.
Yeah. I think Aaron reviewed those a while back, and he really liked them for the price.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, try them out. I don't know what the return policy is, but Chana's stance on that. Right?
Yeah, I'm interested. They got this T3. They've got these it's like best way I can describe it's like a Klipsch RC64 with 2 5.25-inch mid-range in the middle.
What's the model number?
It's the Emotiva C3 Plus. and then they've got the T3 Plus towers, and I guess they just released some new subwoofers as well.
Oh,
they're
okay. I know
basically
what
like
you're talking about.
the big ones, but just bigger.
Yeah. If they're at CES in January, I'll get to hear them. The first time I did hear some air motifs at CES, my first CES, which was 2017 or 2018. So it's been a little while. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah.
So if they're there, I'll definitely listen to them.
Yeah, it's a big old center channel.
Well, thanks for calling in, man. Hopefully that's helpful.
It was for sure.
Oh my goodness.
For sure.
Good talking to you again.
Yeah.
You as well. You guys all have a good evening. All right.
Take care.
You too.
Yeah.
I know.
See ya.
Dude, I pulled up Emotiva's website. There were 3 pop-ups. I was like, golly.
We got some.
This thing's huge. Look at that.
Big center channel, bro. Look at that.
Yeah,
thing.
that's got to be long AF.
Look at that.
Let's get through some of these super chats.
Let me get this on the screen. There you go. Go for it.
Bodie McBoatface,
Thank
$5.
you.
Thank you so much. What do you think of Marantz AV10 feature that will allow you to use all 3 speaker layouts and will switch between them depending on the codec bitstream? Ooh, that's awesome. I didn't even know that was they were doing that.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That solves everything, right? Like if you have enough speakers, and if you don't mind wiring them up,
yeah,
then
and that's the key and the point of that. They wanted to be able to provide that.
I love that.
That's the pre-pro, right? The AV10.
Yes.
3 speaker layouts.
Now that's an expensive processor, though. I mean,
$7,000, right?
$7,000, yeah. So it's definitely not cheap, but pretty cool feature, though.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. High Finest, $4.99. Thank you so much. Anyone have any solutions to the choppy audio with native Atmos Apple TV 4K? I have an 8805A, and the Atmos content will cut in and out frequently. I don't know, man. I would say try swapping HDMI cable just to see if that will help. Do you guys know how to just reset the Apple TV? Because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, there's in the settings. There's a reset.
It should be, right. So sometimes like I would rather just reset the thing and then just be like, okay, let's start over.
Yeah, it's under go to system reset.
Yeah.
What else? We have another super chat too, right?
Yeah. Spillage Village. Thank you so much. $10. Woo! I'm looking at a 7-channel Wharfdale system for about $6,000. What are your opinions on AMT versus dome tweeters? Will I be missing something going to an AMT?
I've heard a few AMT tweeter systems, and honestly, I really like them. What was it? The Martin Logan 60 XTI series and their matching center channel and bookshelf speakers. That was a killer system, man. Incredible detail, beautiful mid-range on them. Now, I don't want to say like every speaker that uses an AMT tweeter is amazing, because that's going to depend on networks and speaker design and all that. But I think an AMT speaker can absolutely sound phenomenal. Have y'all heard any AMT speakers?
Yeah, the Kanto Tux were AMT.
Right.
I reviewed a monolith near field monitor that's an AMT, and they do sound a little different.
Sure.
I think it depends on how they're implemented. Just like anything, it's
Correct.
not whether it's an AMT or a soft dome or aluminum dome or beryllium.
Yeah.
Those they all have different characteristics, but they all need to also be tuned correctly. Yeah. And so these other ones, I think they could have worked a little bit. They could have been a little bit better as far as tuning.
All right, so
the sound of
think
the
about
EMT.
this. So you're talking about the Kanto Tux, which are what, $900 a pair?
Yeah, the Carinas, so ELAC Carinas are a little bit.
Those
more
are $1,200. Yeah.
And so they have a certain characteristic, and I think it also depends on how they have different lengths.
Right.
You've seen some that are like a little square, right?
And some more of a rectangle shape.
And then some that are like so to me, the ones that are like a long strip like that, I would imagine that it's crazy because it's like having a tweeter that's that large. And so I imagine that the radiation pattern would be different on that. Maybe a little bit wider. I don't know. I'm kind of just guessing here. But I'm always interested in, different materials, but I think it has to be implemented correctly.
Right.
I know the Wharfdale stuff though is always gotten some pretty good reviews from what I've seen from others. And I've always liked Wharfdale. So
yeah.
You talking about the Evos, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Maybe those things look great, especially in white. One thing I did notice about AMTs.
EMTs.
I watched Ambulance, but
Yeah.
Don't hold it against me.
What do you call it? They usually ended up crossing over the speaker a little bit higher, around 2500 hertz, as opposed to a typical aluminum dome tweeter at 2000 or 1800. So I think that is a part of the difference with the difference in material. Right. So just something I noticed, take it for what you will. Reverend Slim said he tried to call in to praise Chana's work with the Atmos clips, but the phone lines were hot.
they were.
They were.
Let's see if this is him. Let's see. Might get lucky. Hello?
Hello.
Who was this?
Jeremy Anderson.
Yeah,
What's up, buddy?
There it is. What's up,
I'm
Jeremy?
kidding. What's up?
Hi. I felt the need to call in just to say to the person who claimed that it wasn't worth doing that experiment. It absolutely is. It gives us a context. What Chana was doing with that, even if I don't necessarily strictly agree with his underlying theory or speaker layout, like, it does let you hear for yourself what the difference is in how we hear these things. So it's important to do. Joe and I had a long conversation. I think the end result of that was one person might hear elevation better than overhead, and for them, it might be preferable to have it a certain way. I think at the end of the day, we should all hear different people's setups and use that knowledge to figure out what's best for us.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that part.
It's worth doing.
Yeah. How it was like, do you prioritize hearing the heights more clearly, or do you prioritize the cohesiveness of the height and the ear level? One setup might be better suited for one, and the other one is better suited for the other thing. So
and you might just generally hear that aspect of your hearing better. And so for you, it will sound better to have it one way than another.
Right.
So,
keeping up with the Joneses.
More than that, I want people to understand. I want people to understand, like, Chana and I have never really argued.
You really should try it. It's fun.
Discussions about this stuff. So.
Yeah. No. It's one of those things where, like, look, dude, I want to know what's going on. And, I'm not getting paid for any of this Atmos stuff I'm doing. Like, the people that are getting paid to mix a movie and stuff like that, they're probably like, man, it took me this long just to do this one effect in this one scene. I'm just going to kind of put the score up there and just roll with it. Cause like, I'm not going to make my deadline. So like, there's a lot of factors that play when we, like in a lot of these movies, like, it's a 2-hour movie. How much cool Atmos is happening? A minute, if we're lucky, right?
Well,
so,
Bullet Train recently was that way. There's like maybe 2 minutes of height movement at all.
yeah. So it's kind of like, well, damn, and to make like a 5 or 6 minute like full on dynamic Atmos mix, dude, that's gonna take a long time. That's going to take a lot. And if I'm going to put that much time into it, like, I want to make sure like everybody hears it like the way I'm doing it. And that's kind of like my frustration of the whole thing.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize that sometimes this stuff is so involved, they actually have a separate person taking the music stems to do some Atmos work with it versus the person who's actually doing the effects stems. So there's a lot involved, and I think the more time they have with it, Dune is the perfect example where they let the sound team work from the beginning of production, and that is absolutely the reference desk for Atmos.
Yeah. I did hear from a few other Atmos mixing engineers that they get a 7-1 mix from the studio. So that's already done. And then like a folder with all the effects and all that stuff like that, the sound effects and stuff. So they just kind of like, so they go in and just kind of fill it in, I guess, right? The Atmos.
Well, they get the stems that they're wanting to be used for heights with notes on how they generally wanted it.
Right.
So
I guess, here's what I want to make clear is like, what part of Chana's thing do you not necessarily agree with?
Well,
Yeah.
trying to make the interface on the renderer match up to your room isn't really ideal. I mean, like you were saying earlier, I do think it is more designed for theatrical space, and then the home version is kind of an afterthought. Because they have to work within DSP limitations. Ideally, they would have accounted for some of this stuff and had it adapt a little better. But I think you are limited in just how much processing power your average AVR would have, as opposed to something like a Trinoff where they can kind of shift the image virtually around to suit your room space. But that's about it. I think they're trying to kind of split the baby and give you a mix of good elevation and good overhead with a limited number of speakers.
Yeah.
So
I think, would it be fair to say that what Chana is saying is true, though, that because there isn't a height speaker directly above the speaker, the ear level speaker, that he can't pan it directly upward using that render? Like, it's a limitation.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. And it's interesting. Again, part of the reason why this experiment was worthy, it's interesting to see the difference in approach with something like Oro, where they're depending on that, having the identical ear level and height layers for specific moves like that. Whereas with Atmos, you're basically looking at 1/4 and 3/4 of the room width. They actually, when they originally did all this, had their height speakers in a theater on trellises that they could move. And they settled on really covering about the middle half of the theater laterally. So it's a different approach. And it's worthwhile to dig into that and see what the limitations of it are. And I think for music, like what he's doing, it's a lot different than what they're working with in movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what you've told me before, in our 2-hour-long conversations, is that the placement that they recommend should give you smoother pans up and over. And up around you, you should get a smoother pan just because there's more coverage and less angular separation between the speakers. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's each approach has its weakness. I mean, if you leave too large of a gap overhead, you don't get the smooth movement directly overhead. Now, you're still, because of the way we hear pans as they move, you're still going to hear that movement even if you have a little bit of a gap overhead within reason. But when you're trying to place things statically in one spot, that's when you'll start to hear that sound field kind of break down. It's a lot different than, I don't know if they actually have a rule that you're supposed to keep objects moving, but it's pretty rare. These movies on the Trinoff viewer that you don't see them moving all over the place.
So you asked a question in the comments about 712 and why things are locked that way. So basically, I can't print out something that's 712. When I export it, it's just it. That's it. Okay. When it comes to bed layer versus object, it's literally the type of audio channel that's in whatever, Pro Tools, Logic, whatever. And so if something is set to 712, that's all it'll be. Right. And I can move it up, but if I move it up, it like kind of, it's kind of like a dome shape. It goes up to the center. Right. So, I'm glad you called in because I didn't want to type all that. But I don't have a choice on how it outputs. It just outputs the Atmos master file. So that's it.
My question on that was because so many of the movies we've seen come out in the home in Atmos, Ready Player One being a perfect example, are mixed to just 9 static objects, where the heights are just 2 static objects at top mid, and any pans you're hearing are like basically pre-processed. I've tried to figure out why anybody would do that when they're basically converting a theatrical object mix down to the home. I understand that you only have 15 total objects to work with in the home once it gets converted out for the home. But it's weird because the two mixers I've talked to about it said that it's actually harder to do that, but some studios kind of mandate it. And I wonder if that's to support things like sound bars. It seems odd that they actually put effort into making it worse.
Yeah. Yeah, because any of the experiment videos or demo videos that I've done with Atmos, where you see the Atmos render and a little ball moving around, those are all objects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the effect of the female vocal in Panic Room going around the room, that was a bed layer. That was a 712. That was locked in. Okay. So it actually uses a different interface to move around the room. So I don't know what that does, but like that's just the way I see it, and that's the only way I can work with it in the software.
Maybe what we can do sometime. Wow, we stay up pretty late, huh, Chana?
Yeah.
But maybe you could hop on a video call with us, because we're able to actually mix. So Chana will share his computer. We're able to mix, and as long as you have some headphones, you'll be able to hear the binaural version, and you can kind of see, what's happening, right? And then we can export it and then send it, and you can try it out on your system and see if it's how it's supposed to sound. So it's kind of fun.
I would be curious just to know more about it from the content creation perspective too. But I really just wanted to say, for everybody else listening, though we have these discussions, don't let it be death by 1,000 cuts. We are talking about minor differences in what is really going to sound great no matter which way you do it. You're going to be more happy than you would be if you didn't have Atmos at all. So I don't want anybody to get turned off by it. We're being nitpicky because that's what we do.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I said it's like, it's like having, it's an 80%. It's still going to sound great. It's going to sound better. You're going to hear stuff up there, and obviously, certain movies going to sound better than others. But for the most, I mean, shit sounded cool. It still sounds cool. But now that I've messed around with a 512, a 514, and a 714, I'm like, oh well, shit, I shouldn't have done that. Because now I don't want to watch any movies in my living room. So
I hope it also helps content creators, right? There's going to be a lot of folks out there making music, and normally they're just making stereo, right? But now they might start thinking, hey, I can make an Atmos. I mean, that's something I can do. I can pay a little extra and be able to do something like that. And if this helps them make better stuff in the future, that's a win for all of us. Understanding how everything's working and the limitations. And I think that's where we're at with it. We're just trying to, we're not complaining to complain, right? We're complaining because we want something better, and we're trying to figure out a better way to do things. And sometimes you have to talk about what doesn't work, right? So it's a little bit uncomfortable to talk about what doesn't work sometimes. And
again, a lot of this kind of falls back to Dolby. They're not doing themselves any favor from a marketing perspective for enthusiasts, because they're about as clear as mud. I mean, you have different guidelines in different places and different standards for music versus theater, and they're not helping themselves there.
Exactly.
No,
I'm laughing because somebody said, "Does someone wake up Michael?"
It's just like nodding. I can't really see because of the glare in his glasses. He might be asleep.
I had Michael talk pretty much the whole time last time. His whole experience, and I was quieter than ever.
That's
so
funny.
Someone earlier said that Michael's not wearing pants, and I'm firmly convinced that there's nothing but the Holy Ghost between him and that scene.
Oh
no! I got shorts on, man. Cargo pants, man. Those have been out of style forever.
That's almost as
Dude,
bad.
I'm wearing cargos too, bro.
I wear them.
My wife tells me I need to burn those things.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Always good talking, man. Always good talking, and sharing your info. I still have your homework assignments up. This guy gave me 2 PDFs, which I'm very appreciative of.
There you go.
One is called Virtual Sound Source Positioning Using Vector Base Amplitude Panning by Dr. V.A. Polke. All right. And the other one I have open here is Elevation Perception, Phantom Images in the Vertical Hemisphere by James Barber. And so
Ooh,
these
that
are
one
older.
sounds saucy. I like that.
Yeah. So
I gotta read
if
that one.
you guys think that we're like going too deep into this, we're trying to boil it down, actually. I'm trying to boil it down as much as possible because this is the type of stuff that we're sharing when we're on the phone. We're talking about like
Yeah.
pretty nerdy
I'll,
stuff.
I'll be walking the dogs, picking up some poop, and be like, Joe, dude, I just thought of something. If A and B and C are true, then D and E have to be true
Yeah.
too. And he's like, oh yeah, let's try that out. So it's like, you know, it's like discovery. It's like something cool, something new, and something that
Hey.
you know a lot of people aren't doing.
This is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about this sort of stuff. Okay?
I don't know the equation. I don't know, but the other stuff.
You know, this is what we're looking at here. Okay, that's one of them, and then the other one is, let's see how the other one looks here. Elevation perception. Okay, we're talking about this. Is that the same one? Did I just share the same exact
don't know,
one?
dude.
I did.
That should be 2 different things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go.
there.
That's elevation perception. That's this one. All right. So we're, you know, we're trying to keep it as simple as possible.
There's a lot
Trying
of
to boil
charts
it
in
down,
that one.
but
I
there's
was
only a
starting
certain amount that
getting
you can boil
confused.
down without losing a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Call in
Like,
anytime,
I'm
man.
not sure if anybody heard the 2-hour conversation we had, and I've had conversation about that long with Chana. Like, I'm not sure how many people would hang in for the full length of that. So it does require a lot of kind of going over it and breaking it down to the fundamentals.
Oh, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of the hardcore enthusiasts would be interested, like some of the stuff that you were showing me, like, you know, the different software that you were showing me. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Hold on a second. Kids are running.
I'm excited to
I
see
was
what-
like, who put Atmos in
I'll take
the
them as-
talk show? Did you hear? So Dolby had a new video. I think Dolby had a new video out today. It's called "Creating a Podcast in Atmos." I'm like, oh, all right. We're gonna listen to podcasts on the good old home theater now. Does everybody get their own speaker? I can't
Yeah,
wait
I'm
to
not
watch
really
that
sure
tonight.
what the use case is for that, but at least it's possible.
There's 11 people on the panel. Each one gets a speaker. That's a Dolby Atmos podcast. Woo.
Maybe what we could do is for people who want to nerd out, maybe Reverend Slim, maybe one day we'll kind of go over the stuff that we were talking about on my channel, you know. And if people aren't interested, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
whenever you
All right, guys.
whenever you want.
Yeah, man.
And maybe Steve from Home Theater Gurus will be there to, you know, to share his information too.
Yeah, he has one of the better speaker placement videos that I've seen anyone do.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to talk to him.
Sounds good. Well, cool, man.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we've been on
Thanks,
for a
Jeremy.
while. All right.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Y'all have a good one.
All right, take
Have a
care.
good
Bye. All right, let me stop this here. We're
phone thing.
running long. Poor Tim.
Yeah.
Tim had it easy for the first hour and a half.
Well, all he has to do is make one long video about
One
Atmos and
line,
speaker placement, and that's it.
It's like no editing. Just put Oro 3D. Boom.
Yeah.
Or Dolby
Oh,
sucks.
we're talking about Dolby Atmos.
Dolby sucks. Sorry, that's
People are complaining we're only talking about Oro. We're talking about Atmos this whole time.
Yeah.
So,
Now it's Atmos versus Oro.
So
Now
what's up?
Atmos.
man, killing me.
Yeah. Being a major geek, I'd be up for it. So look, yeah, Joe, I think some people
hey,
would
we can
tune
do
in.
it. We could do it. I don't care about the, you know, if only a small subsection of my audience is interested, at least they're very interested. So that's fine.
Yeah. Since YouTube has 5.1, maybe you should do a LCR of the podcast. One speaker per mic.
Maybe, you know, actually, where's that thing that I put up? So here is the link. That thing that I was talking about, the Atmos call out. kind of had to do some stuff to kind of make it work, but
Shh. Don't
yeah,
tell.
yeah,
Don't tell.
I had to try it out. And so here's what I want to know. Comment and let me know if when you listen to this, so this is on YouTube, okay? You have to be using a streaming device that supports 5.1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let me know if you have an Atmos setup. If you mix it down to 5.1, or even if you have a 5.1, if you listen to it, let me know if you're getting a perception of height. Let me know if you're activating your rear surrounds if you have a 7.1. Let me know what you're finding out. But I think here, I'm going to prime you here. I think what you'll notice is even if you're listening over 5.1, you may get a perception of height, which is interesting. So that's all. There's the link, and I'll try to link it down below too in the description.
Yeah.
And Tim, if he cuts it up, please put the link also. But yeah, what else we got? I think we should wrap it up. And real quick, we have an audio only version of the podcast at anchor.fm/Daily HiFi. And Chana.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to jump into the after show, is the show like this after this show in a video chat with all of us, go to patreon.com/Daily HiFi and make sure you become a patron today. And you get the link to come and hang out and chill out. And, we talk about this stuff and other stuff as well. And maybe we can help answer some more of your specific questions. But on behalf of myself and Michael and Joe, we will see you guys
Have
next
a
week.
good week, guys.